جاية من قلبي الأغنية جاية من قلبي الأغنية جاية من قلبي الأغنية جاية من قلبي الأغنية جاية من قلبي.
Theater, music, and dance. We have all the must-see highlights for this year's Chutzpah Festival today on The Express.
Who are you?
On today's show,
I told your friend I don't want anyone coming here.
Visiting Mr. Green.
That's me, Mr. Green.
Balkan Beatbox.
Jamie is you.
Movement Speaks.
So much of the program is about finding access to their bodies, to find access to expression.
Love isn't sex.
Falsettos, the musical.
Jewish boys who cannot play baseball,
See that and more local expression. Welcome to our Express Chutzpah special. I'm Johanna Ward at the Jewish Community Center. This festival features music, dance, and theater with performers from 6 different countries. Up first, we take to the stage with one of the most produced plays in the world. It's been translated into 22 languages. It's Visiting Mr. Green.
Who are you? I told your friend I don't want anyone coming here.
My friend.
Well, that fella with the tie who tried to kill me.
That's me, Mr. Green. Ross Gardner. I didn't wear a suit this week, and I didn't try to kill you.
2 men who are generations apart are forced to spend time together in Visiting Mr. Green.
The real question is, why did you leave your door unlocked? Ross is a corporate executive working in New York, and he's found himself in this interesting situation with Mr. Green.
So, what are you doing here?
I went back to the social worker. She sent me to the judge. I told him, you don't want me to come? He said I have to.
You see, Ross is visiting Mr. Green as part of his community service for almost hitting him with his car.
Mr. Green is a delicious character. He's 86 years old. He's an Orthodox Jew. He has just lost his wife a few months ago. And because they've been married for almost 60 years, he doesn't really know what to do with himself. He's actually quite distraught, and which lands him into the situation that he gets into with Ross Gardner.
I brought you some food.
Get it out of here! Get it out!
Mr. Green.
There are only 2 actors in this play.
It's been great. It's been certainly the most lines I've ever had to learn.
David says his challenge was to play an 86-year-old man.
For me, part of the joy of being an actor is I get to dress up. And so I get to put a little bit of makeup on. I get to, my beard is very gray. My wife absolutely hates it because she said it makes me look too old. But it's perfect.
Just don't hesitate. Don't back up on that. Right. I have been really lucky to be working with 2 extraordinarily talented actors. They're both really giving. They've been really fabulous to work with. We've had a lot of fun in the rehearsal hall and the theater together.
Neil has been, it's just been a joy to work with. He's so passionate, and this really is a project that is near and dear to him.
I think Vancouver audiences are going to love it because it's got very universal themes, and it's a very well-produced play. There's been over 300 productions of it.
Beautifully acted with a moving story and impressive set design, Visiting Mr. Green is full of heart, perfect for the Chutzpah Festival. I'm Bianca Solterbeck in North Vancouver for The Express.
What do you know from kosher?
Visiting Mr. Green runs until February 26th at the Presentation House Theatre in North Vancouver, the first time that Chutzpah has crossed the water. And today on The Express, we're finding out about some other festival firsts, including the much-anticipated closing party at the Commodore Ballroom, with a band that'll definitely make you want to dance.
I'm the digital monkey, supply the frequencies and be the rhythm that's funky. I come from Middle East, but don't belong to no country.
Balkan Beatbox is just a fabulous band to dance to. They're just known for their energetic performances and just great music. Internationally, they're known. They have such a unique mix. They're just a fabulous group of musicians, and also this is their 3rd time that they've been to Chutzpah. Chutzpah Festival is music, theater, and dance. Mainly, there is Jewish connection, whether it's the artists themselves are Jewish or there is some Jewish content, but it's very broad. Like Jewish culture is. So Klezmer 4, they're from Poland. This is the first time that we have brought artists from Poland. They're from Lublin. 5 young men, fabulous musicians that have their own take on klezmer music. Chutzpah is a really good word that I think shows, has a bit of nerve to it, has some energy. It is, a Yiddish word that does mean sort of nervy and a little bit of risk.
Balkan Beatbox with opening band Klezmer 4 perform on Sunday, February 27th at the Commodore Ballroom. It's the closing party for the Chutzpah Festival, and they've sold over 700 tickets so far. Now, another cool thing about this festival, a traveling dance workshop where New York City dancers work with the local communities. And this year, the featured dancers are the seniors from right here at the JCC.
Don't come towards me, just go straight down. If I need to be a little downstage.
Movement Speaks captures something quite uncommon and perhaps a little magical. Professional dancers work with non-professionals, in this case, seniors at the Jewish Community Center, to create a performance piece.
There's a more intimate feeling. To me, it's very beautiful, the relationship that the dancers work in collaboration with the seniors. I think more last year it was, so this is somewhat of a dialogue about what's happening between both groups. If Jamie is you, we're up here. You've already got right to straight here, as opposed to going...
Movement Speaks is part of this year's Chutzpah Festival. Choreographer Naomi Goldberg-Haas takes Movement Speaks around the world to seniors, disabled populations, and other groups that don't normally perform dance.
It's the first for me, and I love the challenge of it and the structure of it, and it's lots of fun.
Well, I always loved to dance. I was dancing as a young girl.
The professionals help choreograph the movements while being mindful of any limitations the other dancers may have.
As we get older, our body is more limited in movement. We're limited in certain parts of our body become limited, but yet within that limitation is a very clear expression.
Sylvia was in last year's Movement Speaks performance.
Some man said to a friend of mine, "Oh, I didn't come here to see a bunch of old people." And at the very end, he was the one that hooted and hollered the loudest.
For me, so much of the program is about finding access for the seniors themselves, to find access to their bodies, to find access to expression, to find access within their community, and then to make it visible to the larger community.
I'm Erin Shaw in Vancouver for The Express.
Movement Speaks is mostly for senior populations, but Naomi has used the same method with people with mental or physical disabilities to help them express themselves through dance. You're watching our Express Chutzpah special, and we have more music, theater, and dance coming up.
After the break, the music of Jessica Stewart.
I control time.
The one-man show, How to Disappear Completely.
Series of snaps, or I could fade the light slowly.
You're watching local TV on The Express.
Alone in the universe, trying to make sense of what just happened, or preparing for what everyone thinks.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by... The Express is brought to you in part by Plum, fashion supplier to host Johanna Ward.
Welcome back to The Express at the Jewish Community Center. The Chutzpah Festival is all about merging cultures, and in some ways, so is Canadian indie band, the Jessica Stewart Few.
You're listening to a bubbly tune aptly named Kid Dream, the title track off the latest album by the Jessica Stewart Few.
It's a fantasy daydream song. I'm looking at the sky and all of a sudden, I don't realize it, but I've fallen asleep and then I have these crazy, fantastical dreams, and that's what that's about.
Surrealistic lyrics accompanied by an undeniably happy hook, played on a traditional Japanese harp called a koto.
You can make very soft and sort of dreamy sounds with it.
It's an instrument this Vancouver native picked up as a child from her mother, and now it's her unconventional acts of choice.
But with a koto, it's sort of like, what can I do with this? And I just play around with different things. So it's sort of like a very, almost a naive way of approaching it, which makes me write in a different way.
However, there's nothing remotely traditional or Japanese about this music. The band is a blend of folk, jazz, and pop.
So that's what I find, Jessica does with her music. She really, channels a lot of different influences, and a lot of different diverse styles.
However, the driving force behind the band revolves around a much simpler concept.
To be able to share a musical experience with each other, and then with the people who are watching us and the people we're connecting with.
The band also takes pride in being independent, much like another Canadian group making headlines this week.
They don't sound exactly like everyone else. They're a band that other people try to imitate. I guess it gives hope to people that they don't have to conform their voice, and they can still have a shot at having some sort of success.
A dream of theirs too, but regardless if they win a Grammy, today Stuart is just happy to be home. The Toronto resident is performing at the Chutzpah Festival this weekend, a chance for Vancouverites to take in some homegrown talent with a world of sounds. I'm Tim Chung in Vancouver for The Express.
The Jessica Stewart Few are playing on Friday the 18th in Langley at the Jazzy Jones Roadhouse Grill, and on the Saturday right here at the Norman Rothstein Theatre at the Jewish Community Center.
We call this a shin buster because it will bust your shins when you run off stage in the dark.
After the break on
It's
The
my
Express,
favorite position.
the one-man show, How to Disappear Completely.
It makes for much more interesting.
It's not genetic, anything can be.
The Broadway musical, Falsettos.
I think the Jewish culture really puts a huge emphasis on family.
The Express. This is your local voice.
Jason played baseball, we're watching. Jason played baseball, we're watching. Jewish boys who cannot play baseball, play baseball.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by Makeup services for Shaw TV, provided by Beauty Mark.
Welcome back to our Express Chutzpah special from the Jewish Community Center. This year's festival marks the world premiere of the one-man show, How to Disappear Completely. And we're shining a light on the story behind the story.
I control the pace of the show. I control time. I can move time forward quickly with a series of snaps, or I can fade the light slowly, leaving the protagonist alone in the universe, trying to make sense of what just happened, or preparing for what everyone thinks is still coming. When I started this project, I thought I would be a documentary filmmaker, and that's why I shot all the footage, and I ended up a theater lighting designer. So it made a lot of sense to make a theater show and to have me run it and to have lighting as a big part of it. The show is about my mother and our relationship and how I went home to Israel to take care of her in the last few months of her life. In September 2000, I received a phone call from Israel telling me that my mother, Mary Erdal, has been diagnosed with lung cancer and was given 9 months to live. I immediately flew back to Jerusalem and I started filming. I filmed her slow down, lose her hair, lose her mobility, lose the ability to speak or think clearly. The show is like examining where I was 10 years ago, where I thought I'd end up, and how my mother died. We call this a shin buster because it will bust your shins when you run off stage in the dark. It's my favorite position. It highlights the body rather than the face. It makes for much more interesting, sculptural lighting. It abstracts things, but gives the image more depth and makes it three-dimensional, as it should be. But there's also a lot of metaphors in the show to the lighting. There's lamps that go down and disappear, and there's many, many metaphors that connect my mother's life or my mother's death to the lighting. She made it very clear to me that she was determined not to suffer, so I had to make some decisions I had to make on my own.
How to Disappear Completely runs until the end of the festival, February 27th, here at the Jewish Community Center. And also on stage is the Broadway musical Falsettos, described as the Jewish version of Modern Family.
Love isn't sex. That's a thing my husband once told me. Marvin, my ex.
Falsettos is a tale of a man who leaves his wife and son to pursue a new relationship with a man.
Do you only treat queers?
Katrina Murphy plays the role of the unimpressed wife.
Falsettos is bizarre, it's wonderful, it's exciting, and it's heartbreaking.
Taking in the queers moment, coming into her.
Director Peter Jorgensen says Falsettos is a non-stop musical show.
Then Marvin came from work, sat me down on the bed.
It's completely sung through. There's only occasional spoken line in the show, which makes it that much more challenging because it's, you know, Act 1 and Act 2, it's an hour non-stop of music.
Now to break bread, loosen your glands.
It's not like a regular play where you can think about something and then deliver. It's in the music, it's in the time, and you have to keep going. So we're very aware of one another.
I'm married. One of the most compelling scenes in the show brings the whole cast to the baseball field.
We're sitting and watching Jason play baseball. We're watching Jason play baseball. We're watching Jewish boys who cannot play baseball,
I think the characters really love each other, and that's what's easy and challenging about it, is that they're impossible situations, but they love each other so much that they want to remain a family. They want to remain friends.
Just what I wanted at a Little League game, my ex-husband's ex-lover.
I love her character. She feels to me as be at the center of the storm in a way, wanting desperately, like I think any mother would, to keep balance in her life and to keep this family together, and struggling in the face of the recent events to make that happen.
Falsettos and its interesting set of characters is a great fit for Chutzpah.
It's not genetic, anything can be copacetic.
It's a play about family, and I think the Jewish culture really, really puts a huge emphasis on family. And so, although we've taken a story that really takes us on a journey, it's still about family.
He's still queer. Am I queer?
It's challenging, it's moving, it's funny, it's absurd. It's all those things.
Anything's possible, Jason hit the bar.
In Vancouver, I'm Melanie Pineda for The Express.
Woo! Falsettos runs until February 20th here at the Norman Rothstein Theatre. And now on The Express, we're shining a light on some of the most popular shows at this year's Chutzpah Festival. From Israel, the voice of Ravid Kahalani and his 9-member band evoke a luscious mix of jazz tonalities, funk, West African grooves, and ancestral rhythms. This band is a must-see live. The exotic sound of the Middle East with urban electronic grooves and hip-hop beats is part of what makes Balkan beatbox unique. Internationally renowned and one of Israel's most prominent dance companies, Kibbutz will feature 3 dynamic male dancers on a personal and intimate journey. Those 3 shows, along with the Dance Double Bill and Jaffa, are close to sold out. So if you're thinking you want to go, now is the time to get your tickets. Now that's it for today's Express from the Jewish Community Center. I'm Johanna Ward, and on behalf of all of us on the show, thanks so much for watching. We're going to leave you with more highlights from the Chutzpah Festival, and we'll see you next time.
Another one, and I got my word on it.
tasty sound. Ooh, why you hold a gun? Why you do like you do? Why you having fun? No. You watch your back now, man. There's a really strong smell of Armageddon. Ooh, and I'm Mediterranean. I'm a Yemeni, Arabi, Israelian. I know you like to chase a million. When you gonna get it done? Once you get a million, you wanna get another one, and another one, and another one. Why you wanna hold a gun and have control on everyone?